What's up, Starcraft fans? Today we're doing the tier list for Survival of the Fittest on Hammerland. Brian, let's hear the mutation.
Void Thrashing is the map where we have to destroy 10 Void Thrashers before they destroy Sergeant Hammer's completely useless fortress. Each set we destroy reveals the next, unless we take too long and they spawn anyway. Enemies gain a 100 health shield upon first taking damage, and sometimes they transform when they deal damage. They always transform when they destroy your units.
So today we have Zero and Eviling the Culverus. How are you guys?
Doing fine.
Doing fine.
Nursing a cough and congestion.
Oof, that's a little rough. So, Eviling, how do we rank the commanders this week?
This week is going to be based upon firepower and not losing your stuff. Pretty much, if you have a commander that's able to hammer away at the Thrashers without any repercussions, any retaliation, you'll be a little higher. Otherwise, you need to be able to tank damage or divert damage. So Transmutation is a more trickier one. Some commanders have ways of not triggering Transmutation, and it's a little unfair, but that's how it goes.
That's how it goes. That's why it's a tier list, not a rationalization of why everyone's fair. How about you, Zero?
Eviling pretty much said anything, but of course dealing with the transmuted enemies your ally might make will probably bump you up a little bit. It's not the main concern though.
Blaming your ally. I love it. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's begin. Abathur, where do we have him?
Abathur, so he has a problem of his the locusts that spawn for free. Those can trigger transmutation.
Yeah.
So you need to be very careful early on when that happens, or else it can really spiral out of control. You can brute force it, aka the pikey method of farming transmutation, and just start getting mass and massive swarm hosts, and then it becomes you're living on the edge of getting completely wiped out, and also your frame rates are going to go to hell. So,
Yes.
yeah, it's doable, but it's gonna be a little funky with Abathur. I have him from B to C.
B to C, okay. How about you, Zero?
I have him in B tier. You kind of have to be careful in the early game to not farm while farming biomass. But if you manage that, he has a lot of power once you get to the mid game. And yeah, with transmutation, it somewhat buffs him just because the transmuted enemies will drop more biomass. And if you're not getting overrun by them, that's just additional biomass, which is very nice for him. So I have him in B tier.
Have you guys considered first Prestige and then just biling from distance with Ravagers? Or just using Devourers to literally right-click the Thrashers and just absorb whatever the enemy throws at you?
I wouldn't recommend the Devourer one here, just because the enemies will still shoot at them, and then you'll have a lot of hybrid going to your base, and Abathur's static defense isn't really built for that.
So you're saying
Agreed.
first Prestige is not viable because there's not enough defense. You essentially
It's
need...
viable if you go like Ravagers, just not the Devourer option.
Yeah, it's gonna be very comp dependent. So remember, transmutation is not just if a unit dies. If it gets hit, there's a chance that it's gonna start transmutating. So if you're gonna just send Devourers into snipe, they're gonna get hit. They're gonna get hit a lot. So that's gonna increases your chances of things going wrong, and
More
you're
chances of
living a
winning.
real fine edge.
Okay, so both of you okay with B? Let's put Abathur in B. Prestige-wise, you want the second one? How about no Prestige, so that you don't
Just
go
not
for...
third.
Just
Anything
don't
else
go
is
for...
fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Abathur in B tier. Alarak, where do we have him?
Alarak, so this guy has a lot of firepower, so if your ally farms, he won't really have a problem. As for pushing into the actual objectives, he doesn't really have a way to hit without getting hit himself, so he will have to fight them head on, in which case he isn't terrible still. I'd probably advise to to go like P1 here, and then Ascendant Wrathwalker, just so you can still kite the hybrid while just poking to the base while being relatively safe. Yeah, I have him in A tier.
Do you start with Ascendants first or Wrathwalkers first? That's kind of
Wrathwalkers.
Wrathwalkers first. It's kind of an expensive strategy considering Void Thrashing is the shortest map out there. Don't you think?
Not really. You build up like 12 minutes. You should be you should have a relatively big army, and you can just keep poking with the Wrathwalkers to chip away at the bases.
Okay. How about you, Evil Link?
I agree with Zero. I have Alarak from A to B. I think you can. He has good firepower. The only caveat would be just be careful on how much you're losing. I mean, Alarak doesn't die, but he starts eating supplicants, and then they could retarget on supplicants, and it can get out of control pretty quickly. But yeah, due to his high firepower, he'll be able to this mission pretty well, depending upon comp. A to B.
A to B. Okay. Both of you agree with A. Let's put him in A. Prestige-wise, you want the third one?
I think all of them are fine.
All of them are fine.
All of them will have a different tactic. The only downside, I think P3 might be the weakest one, because if you have Zerg comp,
Interesting.
oh man, the Vipers are going to be a problem.
Yeah, that's true. You're absolutely right. All right, but that notwithstanding, it's still A tier. Pretty good. Arcturus, double S. Let's move on. I'm just kidding. Where do I have him?
Yeah. So Arcturus, the only issue with him is his start is going to be a little iffy, because what you want to do is get onto the center of the map and then hold that. So it, as Zero mentioned at the very beginning, it's kind of dependent on your ally. If your ally starts feeding early, you're screwed. I mean, for any other commander, you're kind of screwed, but Arcturus won't have a chance to get set up. It'll take a little time.
Yeah.
Once he gets set up into the middle, into the mid game, in the middle of the map, then pretty much the rest is a cakewalk. But yeah, you can't be feeding troopers early on in a hopes of defense, or one of your cooldowns, the Zerg cooldown, is going to be negated. Do not use that unless it's
Not negated.
absolute.
It's gonna help the Amon.
Well,
Is it gonna help the enemy?
Yeah.
Letter.
But either way, yeah, just try to avoid it. S to A.
All right. How about you, Zero?
I have him in S tier. He's really simple. If your ally doesn't interfere, you just make ESO in the middle and then just hit all the objectives. If your ally does interfere, early game you're kind of screwed, but like mid to late game you should be fine if you just spread like E-base everywhere to stall the hybrid while the ESO just whittle them down. So yeah, he's relatively ally resistant, and he just completely destroys this mutation. So I think S is fair for him.
Yeah, I agree. I actually have him double S because you can actually prevent your ally from messing it up by just using Contaminated Strike every time the wave is about to spawn. You can memorize the attack patterns. If if the first wave arrives at 3 minutes, it's pattern A. If the first wave arrives at 4 minutes, it's pattern B. So you can kind of predict the patterns of where and when the enemies spawn based on the first wave. Anyway, unanimous S tier. Let's move on. Wait, prestige-wise, you want the first one or third one? Or doesn't matter?
1, I'd say, although P3 can also work for the slightly easier early game.
Alright.
Mhm.
Let's move on. Ardy, where do we have him?
Artanis, so his overcharge is gonna be really good here. That just completely prevents transmutation. He also has this Tempest unit that allows him to just pick off at the base from a decent range, so
Right.
if you're careful with them, you won't really be getting hit.
Can't.
And even if you like slightly mess up, the trigger and lure too many enemies to your Tempest, you could just overcharge, and then they won't transmutate, and you have a very good barrier.
Yeah.
So yeah, the waves shouldn't really be a problem because you have the P3 orbital strike. I assume you're just gonna go P3 here. So I have him in A tier personally. He can't really deal with farms though, which is what's really holding him back.
Okay. How about you, Eveling?
Yeah, all good points that Zero made. I have Artanis from A to B, recommending P3, and going with Tempest, sneaking around the sides, just get the mission done sooner than later. That way, your ally has less chance to sabotage you. Make use of your shield overcharges. It's going to be incredibly good to just preventing any bad engagements from spiraling out of control. And the good thing, if you're using Tempest, if you use the disintegration ability on the Tempest, it starts knocking down the health points, even though a barrier is triggered.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, it'll be triggered regardless on the void thrashers and stuff, but like, that's
You can
true.
start eating away at the health points
That's
immediately,
true.
or almost immediately.
Barry's only 100 health, or yeah, Barry's only 100 health, but the disintegrate is 500, so you even eat through, right through disintegrate. So both of you are okay with A. Let's put Artanis in A. Prestige twice. You want the third one?
Yes.
All right.
More shield overcharge, more happy.
Wait, for shield overcharge or for the Archon dudes?
Both. Both are very good here.
Yeah.
Do you have enough energy to have an Archon set at every attack wave?
Yes, but you can't use a shield overcharge on every occasion if you want that. But you shouldn't need to.
Fair point.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on. Dehaka, another S tier. Okay, where do we have him?
Yeah, I have him in S tier. Pack leaders are good. If there's a hybrid farm, he just defends that with either pack leaders or units, whether that's impalers or like guardians betas. Either should be fine. Yeah, pushing into bases is an issue for him. You have to be slightly careful in the early game to not transmutate too much. But even if you do make a hybrid at like the 1 minute mark, you just sacrifice some drones and eat it.
Yeah.
It's not something you want to do, but if the worst comes to worst, you can. So
Yeah.
yeah, S tier.
How about you, Eveling?
Yep, pretty much S tier. He's very similar to Arcturus. If you get certain parts on the map, you just creeper host the thing down to death, and then when send in a pack leader for either making them taking off most of their health, that creeper host clean up, or the other way around.
Yeah.
So either way, it kind of doesn't matter.
I like how we're all universally considering our ally to be someone to be carried rather than someone who's out to help you. Regarding the Glevig, when you spawn Glevig, the units that spawn around him can feed transmutation. So, if you want to minimize transmutation, spawn Glevig inside your base, and then just teleport him forward, deep tunnel the Glevig forward into the fight. So there's less chance of you feeding transmutation. But even if you don't, Glevig can probably handle it, right?
Also with P2, those units also have increased health, so they won't die that quickly, so you have time to pull them back anyway.
True. Alright. Dehaka S here. Phoenix, where do we have him?
Phoenix, he has firepower in the form of P2, and it minimizes the amount of stuff that you lose. So it's kind of just a straight up brawl. But the downside, Phoenix, I mean, Caldalis is pretty strong on P2, but you're still going to lose him, and so that's going to trigger transmutation.
Yeah.
But you can just brute force your way through it. So I have Phoenix from A to B. It's not as straightforward as like Arcturus and Dehaka, but yeah, you still can get through pretty handedly.
You can still get through. A to B. How about you, Zero?
I have him in A tier also. I'm not fully opposed to S tier, but yeah, I think A tier more. He is really good at brute forcing, so yeah, that won't be an issue. Even if your ally farms, you can still just handle it really easily. Then you just keep sending champions into the objective, and eventually it will die. You don't really care what happens to those champions. Also, a good thing about Phoenix champions is even though they're heroic, they won't instantly transmutate the unit to the max tier like some other heroic units would. So that's really good for him.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think A tier is fine for him.
A tier's fine. All right, let's put Phoenix in A tier. Han and Horner, where do we have him?
Han and Horner. So you know how Phoenix champions don't fully transmutate when they die? Yeah, that sort of also applies to Mira units. When they die, they don't guarantee a transmutation to the next tier, which is slightly good for them. Yeah, with that said, it will still be an issue. You
Yeah.
can't really strike fighter the base either, because the strike fighters will most likely get hit, and then you transmutate that, and they're not great at dealing with transmutated units because they just lack the power.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
yeah, I have a like a B to C tier.
B to C. How about you, Evoling?
I thought Zero was gonna go a lot lower. I have Hananor also B to C. Definitely, I would say avoid using the Han units. Just use them. Use the tankier ones more defensively. So, aka the Hellbats, Hellions, and Widowmines. Don't make Reapers. You're asking for trouble because you're gonna lose them en masse. I'm recommending P2. Just hang back. Deal with the attack waves as they come, and then build up your sovereign battle cruisers, and then if you got extra gas, then make some strike fighters in order to support the BCs so that the stat defenses are not whittling away on them.
Yeah, that's good. Also use back mines. So both of you are okay with B. Or is it B to C? Is it B or C?
Yep.
Which one do you prefer?
I guess we can put
I'd
her
say
in C and then maybe bring her up if she fits there better.
So B?
Yep. He's fine.
All right.
Yeah, B's also fine.
Let's move on. Karax, where do we have him?
Karax. Space lasers are good.
Yeah.
Just pretty much do damage without any repercussions. The only hard thing about that is getting the vision. So you can try to sneak observer in, but if it gets seen, it's going to face swift retribution and have a high chance of triggering transmutation. Mirages are definitely when they have their phasing armor upgrade, a much safer route. So, and the other beauty of Karax, he has the defense. So if you do trigger transmutation, you have a pretty sturdy defense that might be able to weather through it. So
Yes.
I have him from A to B just due to the fact that, like, compared to Arcturus and Dehaka, he does have to worry about the vision aspect, whereas once Arcturus and Dehaka get set up, they kind of don't really need to worry about the vision.
All right. How about you, Zero?
I agree with A tier. I think Karax has enough energy to just destroy the objective straight up with the top bar without even having to fight the enemies.
Beautiful.
With Sword, Lance, and Orbital combined. So you just siege them at the back of the base and then you slowly whittle them down. The temple will, of course, get beat down slightly, but that's not your problem. That's for Sergeant Hammer and the repair costs.
Yeah. And I also agree with calling
Yeah.
it a temple because it's not really that
Yeah.
useful as a fortress. It is a temple. It is about as useful defensively as a temple is. Anyway, so both of you are okay with A?
Yeah.
Okay, Karax and A. One more thing. If you're using the third prestige Solarite Celestial and the attack pattern is pattern A, if you will have a purifier beam for every single attack wave. So you can save all your spirit and energy for offense and just wait on purifier beam if it's pattern A. Let's move on. Oh wait. But I think the other prestiges are also fine here, right? If you're okay with defending at home with just units, you can use second prestige as well. But I think third prestige is the best one here, right?
Yeah, but I'd say by far the best tier.
All right. Best prestige. Let's move on. Kerrigan, where do we have him?
Kerrigan, so yeah, the hero unit will be doing a lot of work here. Now, the hero unit shouldn't die, so that won't really feed transmutation that much. And the occasional transmutated units that are transmutated from just dealing damage shouldn't really be that difficult for it to handle. And at 10 minutes you have immobilization wave, so you just hit the bases with that, and that will kill most of the small guys, and the big guys aren't really that threatening.
For the
when
big
they're alone.
guys, at least you pre-trigger the barrier, so you don't have to go through it again.
Yeah, that too. So yeah, you may have to at least for the last base, you may have to hit it with multiple immobilization waves, but
Yes,
you have plenty of time for that,
plenty
so
of
it shouldn't
time.
really be a threat. And yeah, for the units, I think you just add ultralisks. They'll deal with hybrid relatively well if you make some.
Yeah,
So yeah, I have the A tier, maybe B.
A tier, maybe B. How about you, Eviling?
Yeah, I have Kerrigan from A to B. Her biggest downside is the usual. You lose Kerrigan earlier, you get kind of screwed out pretty quickly. The other aspect is her other glaring weakness is weakness air. So you get an air comp. It let's say Fleet of the Matriarch, you could run into issues with that.
What do you mean?
So
Just wait for them to come down to the ground. Just wait for it to transmute
Yeah.
into ground units. Then you'll take care of it,
yeah,
right?
yeah, but Fleet of Matriarch comes in force, so you could have a lot of hybrid on you. And unlike Abathur, you can't really farm hybrid with Kerrigan.
That
I
is
mean, you
true.
can try with Brood Lords. I think I've seen Pikey do it, but it's definitely not as easy as Abathur mass swarm host.
That's
So,
true.
yeah.
All right, so both of you are okay with A?
Yeah.
Okay, let's put Kerrigan in A. Nova, where do we have him?
Nova has firepower, and she has has a top bar ability that can help prevent transmutation. I have Nova from S to A. You
S
can
to A.
pretty much go. You can have any prestige, and you'll be able to make it work. I think. I mean, P3 is going to be the no-brainer. You just walk in and destroy everything unhindered, and then all the rest of your army is either on defense, or if you're brave enough, send them on offense.
Yeah. How about you, Zero?
Yeah, I think she's easy S tier.
Easy
P3
S
just
tier.
walks into the base and just whittles it down. For the second one, you just defensive drone, and for all the other ones, you just nuke it, and that'll pretty much get rid of anything. Then the units just finish off the thrashers.
Yeah,
And even if your ally farms, liberators have the firepower to just deal with that also, so that's not a threat. Yeah, I think she's just easy S tier here.
that was my experience too. Unanimous S tier. There we go. Raynor, where do we have him?
Raynor. Yeah, this you're gonna have to be careful because I believe the guys can transmutate into High Templar, then he gets stormed, so that's not very
Oof.
nice. Yeah, I guess you just slowly mass up PCs because they're tanky units.
Yeah.
If you're knowledgeable on the map, you can probably do the little iron shot of just sniping all the detection on the map, then just sending banshees in. But I wouldn't recommend that for most people. So yeah, BCs will probably just be your best friend here. Now BCs themselves aren't actually that bad. Once you get enough of them, they should just wreck hybrid even. So it's just about getting to that point. Now this doesn't put that much early pressure, so you should still be fine. Yeah, it's just he's gonna be slow, so he won't be getting a lot of kills. But yeah, I think he's B or C.
B or C? How about you, Eviling?
I thought about making Raynor B or C. It was all good points that Zero made, and I really liked that little smirk that you had at the beginning. Yeah, Raynor has issues now. Thanks to prestiges, it P3 definitely helps him out a lot. There's no time pressure per se. That there's no void risk that's having you change your build significantly. So go for mass PCs. That'll be your best bet. Just be careful. So this is the reason why I have Raynor from C to D rather than Han and Horner is B to C. Han and Horner's top bars are resilient against transmutation. Raynor's top bars can trigger transmutation. You got to
That's
be
true.
very careful with your dust wings. And your dust wings come out early. That's your early form of defense, so stopping the attack waves, and you could start doing mass triggers there if things go wrong for any reason. But yeah, just get to mass BCs. If you need to defend, build some bunkers.
Yeah, bunkers
The
will work.
bunkers have very
If you get the
will keep you
upgrades.
safe, and then you have if you have a good mineral supply, you can also with P3 you can make vultures too. Vultures, mass spider mines will definitely nick out anything that transmutes that's on the ground. So that's definitely a tactic. So just turn it up, get your BCs, and wipe the map, and you should, or wipe the thrashers, and you should be fine.
All right.
GDD.
So both of you are okay with C. Let's put Raynor in C. Again, C is not bad. C is fine. You can win with C if you contribute equally with your ally. Let's move on to someone who's not C. Stetboy, where do I have him?
So P2 super duper Gary is really strong, really resilient. Most likely he's not going to be contributing to any of the transmutations. Thing is, we know Stetmann Zerglings can handle a lot, but there's still going to be losses. So just be careful on how you use them. It's good to use them so when they die, they contribute the best oil to Gary or super duper Gary, but that comes at a cost of transmutation. If you want to be buffing up super Gary, I would say take those before you send the Zerglings in, morph them into Mecha Banelings. And then so as they pop, that contributes the best oil to Gary, it gets recycled, you still maintain the power, and just kind of treat it like a somewhat of a hero solo.
Yeah.
A to B.
A to B. How about you, Zero?
What? I think he's easy S tier. Statlings are very good. They don't care about any transmutation. You can just A move them into anything. And who cares if there's hybrid? They'll just kill it. Especially with Gary DPS on top of it. Hugs prevent transmutation. Yeah, Statlings will just completely destroy the bases and the thrashers that will be made out of them. You're buffing your ally with stat zones. So, yeah, I think he's S tier.
Okay. What do you think, Eviling? Are you convinced?
So you're not going to be losing any Stetlings early on. I mean, it's more, in my opinion, it's more work to just make. I mean, yes, I agree with you. Eventually, once you get to just a whole bunch of Stetlings, then it's going to be a face roll. But can you guarantee it as like Dehaka or Alarak, where I mean Dehaka and Arcturus, who can just whittle away unhindered? Stetmann has to get into the fray. So it's a chance. I agree that he's gonna roll it, but it's still a little more risky than our S tier candidates.
Personally, I think you're just kind of underestimating Stetmann's power. Like, the only somewhat tricky part I can think of, if there's a 3-minute wave and then he's slightly out to stall with Zerglings and Gary's out. But once you get Super Gary, he just destroys everything. And then you can
Yes,
just
I mean
move
that's
Gary and Lynx.
that's the concern right there. Is like, yeah, if you get caught off guard with a early attack wave, then that could be game ending right there.
I think
That's the
offense.
case
Whereas-
for every commander.
I think offense is not that much of a problem for a Stetboy because he'll just clear all the small stuff that can transmutate. And so when only big stuff are left, they won't care about Zerglings because they have like one step left to transmutate. So it won't be that much. Right?
I mean, to compare like Stetmann's early game to Arcturus, I'd say Arcturus is a lot less forgiving because like You really have to just not make anything to die to the 3-minute wave of Stetmann. But I think that would be far worse for Arcturus also, and he's S tier.
I don't know. I think Arcturus gets his bunkers. So
Bunker.
I mean,
Bunker's pretty
the
good.
early game is super safe for Arcturus, for Stetmann.
I mean,
It's
barring your ally
relatively safe.
feeding, it's super safe for Arcturus.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not opposed to S for Stetmann. I mean, it's just compared to where we have S tier. I don't know if it's completely fair, but I'm a little on the fence because shield overcharge or the Statellite overcharge is going to help a lot, and that is a method from stopping transmutations to happen. So that definitely ups him a notch.
Or
Is it enough to?
You can do the Pikai method of just using infestors and then farming hybrid.
Yep.
Jeez.
Yep, that is completely doable too. And with Stetmann, you have extra FPS drop. So
Yes,
everyone's having
a fun time.
Quote unquote on fun.
The PCs are also gonna play Survival of the Fittest. The Fittest PC.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. So are you okay with S? Because we have a rule here. If it's not unanimous, it's not S. You have to be okay with S.
I'm okay with S.
Alright, Stat Boy S tier. Let's oh wait, second prestige. That's the best one. Here we go. Stukov! Hey, where do we have him?
Stukov, so you're not going P3 here.
Yes,
Don't
I
even
am.
think about that.
I did. What do you mean? I won with
Did
P3.
I mean, I guess it could work. You just have to
Yeah,
be really careful. But for normal people, I'd advise P1 and just mass Diamondbacks. Yeah, just I guess poke away at the base with Diamondbacks. Don't like fully engage into it. Also, don't use Alexander or infested Broodlings. Yeah, that won't be very good. But yeah, his top bar isn't as useful as it normally would, but Diamondbacks are still really good units. So as long as you're careful and you're just slowly picking off at the base, you should be relatively okay. Now that's still somewhat tricky to do compared to most other commanders, so I have him like C tier.
C tier. Okay. How about you, Evoling?
Yeah, I have Stukov from B to C. Go with P1, and in terms of your mastery point allocation, for the first power set, don't put points into infest structure. Put the points into volatile chance volatile chance spawning, so that way if you do use the Alexander, it's less likely to be triggering transmutation. The thing is, it's not 100%
Just don't
volatile
use
infested coming out of it. Yeah, if you can avoid it, that would be great.
I mean,
But
you should only
if
use the infest structure and Alexander if hybrids are in your base. Then you can use it for defense because there's no more transmutation possible at that point.
Yes, but yeah, Diamondbacks are a good unit. Infested siege tanks are also a good unit. So yeah, just take it slow, build up your army, and just do your best not to be feeding units, and you'll get through it.
Letter.
B to C.
B to C. Okay. So both of you are okay with C tier. Let's put Stukov in C tier. I actually did use the third prestige, but I only use the third prestige so that my bunkers can feed my tanks. I want mass tanks. The bunkers are just there to feed my tanks, so they're basically ammunition. So that's how I use it.
P1's be better for that.
I know, but
Thanks.
I know, but like, I
For
have
the
to
memes, then Calagon memes.
sort of. Let's move on. Swann, where do we have him?
Swann, he has really good defense, and then with P2 you have your post cannon, conch beam that's not where their cooldowns not hindered at all, and for firepower you have wraiths.
Yeah.
So it's pretty just hang back, build your defense, make sure If there are any hybrid spawns that come in, that gets handled, and send your raids out, and with Conk Beam and Post Cannon support, and you should be fine. A to B.
A to B. How about you, Zero?
Yeah, I have him in A tier also. His turrets are very good in case someone farms. Then you just top bar the base that clears both enemies, then Wraiths just finish off the Thrashers. Pretty simple plan. The execution shouldn't be too difficult either. So yeah, A tier.
Okay. So both of you are okay with A tier? Let's put Swann in A tier. Very nice. Tychus, where do we have him?
Tychus, so he spawns at 3 minutes, so no matter what wave it is, it's
He's
gonna be
safe.
handled really easily.
He's safe.
Yeah, he has the power to just A move through bases. Well, not totally A move, but yeah, just I guess not struggle to the bases. For the third and fourth area, you're gonna have Odin Duke, so that won't really be a threat either. And the second base doesn't really have the power to threaten outlaws, so yeah, I have him in S tier.
Okay. How about you, Eviling?
For me, Tychus is in kind of the same boat as Stetmann. I'm not opposed to S. Yeah, he kind of face rolls it. His biggest fallacy would be if the or the person that's operating Tychus is not on it, they lose an outlaw. That can really be, that can get bad quickly. So, or the one outlaw you got to be careful about, Sirius. He can seriously feed if things go bad.
Go sideways.
An out goes sideways. Outlaw, I would actually recommend that not too many people use Vega. So Vega pretty much bypasses barrier because you just take the unit away. And if it starts transmuting up before it gets to one of the heroic units,
Take it away.
you just take it away. So, yeah, I have him originally A to B, but I'm not opposed to bumping up to S. He's pretty much, just almost plays normally. Just don't lose your outlaws or lose turrets.
All right. Both
you
of
get
you
curious.
are okay with S?
Yep.
All right. Tychus and S. Prestige wise, you want the second one?
I'd say so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely.
Just use your nuke. Research, rush your Odin nuke upgrade, drop it on the third and fourth base. It'll be fine. You'll get rid of the Vipers against Zerg.
Mhm.
Anyway, let's move on. Vorazun, where do we have him?
Vorazun, she has good crowd
Power.
control ability. Time stop is just going to utterly decimate the Thrashers. Just make sure to use time stop after the Thrasher spawn. Don't try to
Don't
waste
preempt
it on.
Yes.
Yeah. Her ability to just sit back and defend is not phenomenal, but it's gonna be enough. And kind of a, I guess, hot take on this, P2 is a possibility for this, because the Withering Siphon from P2 starts chipping away at units with, even if barrier is triggered, it already starts attacking the health pool. And their ability for the Centurion to essentially perma-stun heroic units is nice. So you can kind of take that down as B. The chances that you'll lose stuff is you probably lose a few things, but it's going to be handleable. I have Vorazun from A to B.
A to B. How about you, Zero?
I also have her in A tier. It's pretty much just the usual time stop sniping objectives. I'd say just mass and air army. If it's ground, just oracles. If it's air, of course you'll have the Ant Crusaders.
Mhm.
Yeah, the one thing you have to be slightly careful about is once the time stop expires, you're gonna want to recall the Shadow Guard. They're in the base. Otherwise, they'll just feed.
They won't
But
feed
yeah,
if they just death recall, right?
The enemies will
won't.
still be dealing damage to them, so
Ah.
they'll
Yeah, that's
feed. Yeah.
that's the
Fair.
aspect.
Okay, that's fair. Though I still think if you leave them at home, at least you'll have defense for whatever hybrid comes through. But fair point. That is a fair point. Okay, so both of you are okay with A?
Yeah.
All right. Vorazun has 1 prestige, Keeper of Shadows. You really want to use that because you want the time stop to respawn all your Shadow Guard. The Shadow Guard is how you right click the Thrashers. You don't have to deal with the bases. Just right click the Thrashers every time they spawn. Just drop time stop, right click the Thrashers, run out. That's it. You win. Let's move on. Zagara. What do we have him?
Zagara, so you don't want to be using Zerglings here at all, unless it's for like hybrid and your spare minerals. Instead, you can go, I think, P2 here, and then just Aberration the second and third base, and then I guess you could get Corruptors for the fourth base, and then right click the Thrashers. Doesn't really matter if you farm, just because the game will end anyway before you die. So yeah, that will be relatively simple. Even if you like farm slightly, then the P2 aberrations should be able to handle that relatively well.
Okay.
Especially with Frenzy, if you have that. Just don't, I guess you just don't fully run to the base. Just try to like poke it, get a few enemies out, and then just split it into little groups and before fully engaging in. Because she's melee units, so all the firepower will be on them if you like fully run in. But yeah, if you could manage that, I think she's relatively simple. I have her like B tier.
B tier. Okay. How about you, Eviling?
Yeah, I agree with Zero. Zagara is pretty simple. You just have to be smart about how you use her. I think you can use any prestige on this, and you'll be okay. But again, you cannot be feeding Zerglings, and or your summons if you have Zagara, the hero unit, out. I have her from A to B. When I say feeding with the summons, like especially the Baneling Barrage. If you don't have many points in it, definitely be very careful on how you send that in. But otherwise, like for P1, mass a bunch of Banelings, mass a bunch of Scourge, and then just hold back until you have a good size of them that you know you're gonna wipe the Thrashers and everything else in the area, and then just go for it. P2.
Does Baneling Barrage feed?
Oh, doesn't.
No.
So why do you have to be careful about using Baneling Barrage?
I said P1. So
Yeah, but you also said
Banelings and Scourge.
Yeah, you also definitely said Baneling Barrage. So that's why I was confused.
My bad. I meant that as like
Hunter Killer?
barrage the whole areas.
Hunter
Killers and no, sorry, no, yeah. Now I know what I caught. Not the Baneling Barrage.
Hunter Killers.
The Roach Drop.
Oh yeah, the
Roach
Roach.
drop.
Yeah, those guys are heroic. Don't want to be feeding them.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
okay.
Otherwise, if you're careful about that, and if you can establish fronts, you can make bio launchers, which are essentially scaled down ESOs. So,
hey, Tutu's favorite.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually build Earth Splitters. You can actually build the bio launchers in the rear, in the very back base. You can drop the drones by overlords. You can clear the buildings there using Zagara, and you can just bile away from there. If you really want to be fancy. So both of you are okay with B?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Zagara and B. There are gonna be some mad fanboys out there. Zagara, he's so easy. I had triple the kills with my ally. My ally.
Zagara, triple S.
Triple S. I
triple
killed all
S.
the units. My ally just did the main objectives. Who cares about it anyway? Oh my goodness.
Oh dear.
Zeratul, where do we have him?
Zeratul, cannon's good. I would imagine Tutu probably has a no mining.
He probably has a no mining run.
No mining this. Yeah. P3, you have that early power with Zeratul. He pretty much kind of just runs, spins, and just takes care of stuff. Now, if you are allowed to mine, then you can back that up with cannons. That the projections can trigger transmutation, but Yeah, he has enough firepower. In terms of your legion that you're gonna pick, definitely go for Serdath. They're very tanky, and then they steal units. So
They steal the
if you're-
transmutated stuff.
Yep.
Yes. They also stun,
I
which
have
is
him
pretty
to
helpful.
SA.
S to A. Okay, how about you, Zero?
I have him in S tier also. He has just the firepower to handle anything, even if your ally transmutates. The hero unit can just poke through the bases, get sniping detection, and then your DTs will just run in and clean everything up. If you're going for that route, going like Stalker Sentry can also work. Or cannons if you want to do that. So yeah, he has a lot of options. All of them are good.
Yeah.
You can go either like P2 and then just rely on the scaling, or P1, get the super cloak in, then the enemies can't fight, and if they can't fight, then they can't transmutate. So that will
Yes.
be very nice.
You can also
The
do
Avatar is also
Yeah.
very nice, especially if you go for the reinforcement top bar for the longer duration. It will be there a lot of the time, so your arenas will be hyper buffed.
Yeah.
And yeah, hyper buffs don't really care about anything. So he's very straightforward and just brute forcing his way through.
You can also do the funny thing of when the units transmutate, you can demote them right back with the Avatar, with the demote dude. That's kind of good. Okay, so both of you are okay with S?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Zeratul in S. Do we have a double S?
No,
No?
No,
I
Okay.
don't think so.
it depended on ally feeding.
All right,
Yeah,
fine.
even Arcturus can still die if your
That's
ally
fair.
messes up.
Yep.
That's fair. Okay, so who's top of S?
Personally, I think Stetmann. But
Stetboy? Really?
I think so.
Not the Haka?
He's the best at handling farms.
I would say Dehaka over Stetmann.
But yeah, that's fine.
Well, no, you have to be okay with it because it's the top of S, like the best of the best.
Mhm.
So
I still think
what is Stetboy's argument over Dehaka?
Statlings. He's way easier to use. He's way more forgiving if your ally farms. His early game, I think, is like if you make links,
Why is he
should
easier to
be
use?
easier. Why? Because you just make links and you aim move them through the
Okay,
base.
but contrast this with oh no, my ally messes up. Click Glovig, click the map, win. Or click
You have
Mervar, click the map, win.
Or,
I guess-
or worst case, if it's an early mess up, click E to eat and
Click E to eat.
problem gone.
Problem
yeah.
gone. Right?
I
So
guess.
I need to
It's-
understand why you think Zerg is easier than that.
I guess it depends on the size of the farm. Like, yeah, if one pug leader can just handle that, if it's like a single hybrid, sure. But if it's like 5 hybrids, that
Oh,
I
a
think
back eater
Stout-
can handle 5 hybrids. Come on.
oh, I guess it can. Okay, yeah, I guess the Haka.
All right. Okay. I just want to be sure because like this is the best of the best, so it's fair to
Yeah.
debate it. Okay, who's second in S?
That one.
Okay.
I'm okay with that.
Hey, went
Then-
from B to second spot.
Yeah. And then actually I was actually thinking that Nova might be second best in S, but you know,
I'm thinking either Nova or Arcturus.
Nova Arcturus.
I prefer Nova over Arcturus just because defensive drone so good.
Yeah.
That's
So good.
yeah.
Yeah, and Arcturus is so evil. Who's
Hmm.
second or who's second to the bottom of S?
Ooh,
Wait, what?
this is a hard,
Second to the bottom?
Yeah, second
is
from
a
the
hard
bottom.
one.
I guess Zeratul?
Zeratul, and then Tychus bottom.
I think so.
It sounds wrong, but yeah.
Is it? Why? I may be
I-
biased
I-
towards Zeratul because I don't play Tychus that much compared to him.
I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm
Tychus.
impartial either way because you know bottom of S versus second bottom of S, not much of a difference. They're both S. So guys, don't be too offended if your favorite commander is an A tier. A tier is not bad. A tier is really good. It's just not S. It's like you're getting upset over a 98 in the exam. Come on, 98's amazing. Stop it. Get some help.
Unless you're Asian,
I
that's a problem.
I am Asian. 98's fine.
Yeah, I am too.
We're
I know,
Asian.
but
98
we,
is fine.
we know the meme is like, oh, why didn't you get 101%? It's not possible, Dad, Mom.
I think it's because we're
You
not
make
Asian.
it possible.
I think it's because we're not Asian parents yet. Once you get that kid, you're
Yeah.
it's gonna be no 100 not good enough. 120 has to be 300%. Cannot do 100 too low. Okay.
You're not gonna be doctor or lawyer anymore. You're gonna work at McDonald's the rest of your life because you can't get above 100%.
You're gonna make
You're a
YouTube
failure.
video for living. Oh my goodness. Let's move on. Who's top of A?
Swann or Karax?
Swann.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Got Bond this week.
Yeah. Okay. And then
Karax and then
Karax.
Fenix, I'd say.
Karax, then Phoenix. And then
Artanis.
Yeah, Artanis.
all right.
Vorazun?
Agree.
Then
Then-
Kerrigan.
Yeah,
I think Arac's at the bottom.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. Who's top of B?
Zagara?
B's not bad, guys. B's not bad. You can definitely carry
She's
her
top
out with
of B.
B's not bad. Who's next?
I would say Han and Horner, then
yeah,
Abathur at the bottom.
Abathur.
Okay. I
We
like
put
how
Han and Horner's beating Abathur. That's amazing.
I like how the two guys in C are the ones Lila and I used. We actually took 2 tries here because I used P3 Stukov. He used I think P1 Raynor or something. So it was one of the games of all time. Who's top
Well,
of C?
that goes to show when you have experience, it doesn't matter where they are on the tier list.
It took us.
It's like
It took
you can
us
make
2
them
tries,
both work.
though. Yeah. Like C's not bad. We
Yeah.
Lila and I demonstrated C's not bad. You can win on second try.
Yeah, you both did equal contribution.
Yes. Actually, I think on
And
the
both
first
of you
game.
made use of prestigious.
Yeah, I think the first game. You guys can watch that for yourself. I think the first game we played bad. I was too tentative with placing my siege tanks forward, or was it I was too aggressive in placing my siege tanks forward? They lost a lot of them. Either way, we took too long to destroy the first 2 sets of thrashers. That's why the temple had really low health. Yeah. I'll not change that. It's a temple. It's not a fortress. Shut up, Hammer. It's a temple. The temple got really low health by the time we got the 3rd set of thrashers, and it was game over when the 4th set of thrashers spawned. Like right when they spawned, it was too low. So I think I definitely played better in the second game. We won that. So I think C's not bad. So that being said, who's top of C?
Raynor?
Raynor?
Yes.
Okay. Alright, I definitely used the worst commander. Stukov. Guys, that's the tiers for this week. Hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for watching. If you have an idea for what to ask me, please leave that in a comment. I'll see you guys next time.